Hi there guys, this is Sean for Steam Cuisine, bringing you today our second installment of the Beginner's Guide to Cooking, and we're going to be playing Ori and the Blind Forest. Now I know it's been a long time since I've posted a video for the Beginner's Guide, but what we've decided to do for this series is that we're going to be playing Ori and the Blind Forest from beginning to end as sort of like a Let's Play, while I give cooking advice for beginners and kind of give a tutorial of beginner techniques and things like that. Today's episode is focused on knives and the cutting skill that is involved with cooking, and we're pretty much going to exhaust that topic today. But first of all, this is Ori and the Blind Forest. I have played this a bit, but I have not completed it. It is a gorgeous game, and I think that everybody will really enjoy it, and the art style. Kind of plays out like a Castlevania, Metroidvania style game, with less emphasis on combat. So let's go ahead and start on our second empty slot, and this will start up the cutscene. I did get feedback that people don't like me just to sit here while the cutscene plays, so if you want, just read the subtitles, listen while I talk. Knives and cutting or slicing or chopping, all those skills are probably the second most crucial skill to cooking, then next to heat management and pan technique and seasoning. The most crucial parts of why knife skills are the most important is that with uneven cutting, you get uneven cooking. If I cut a potato into 27 different sizes of pieces, the smallest pieces will cook before the bigger pieces, and if I wait till the bigger pieces are done, the little pieces are going to be way overdone. So that means that we will not get even cooking. Oh, we get to play as Fat Man. Let's move along. So the main goal in learning knife skills is how to produce a uniform cut across an irregularly shaped object, along with doing it safely and sort of quickly. Like, efficiently is probably the best term. Oh, we found our little furry buddy. But first of all, we have to get some knives, right? So I believe that there are only 4 knives that you need to be a cook. You need a chef's knife, which is between 6 and 8 inch blade that is wide, about 3 inches wide at the widest, and it tapers down to a point at the end, and as it gets thinner as it goes along as well. This is your workhorse knife. This is the knife that you will use for everything from cutting up potatoes and veggies to portioning pieces of meat. Yay! Hooray! Yeah, it's your workhorse knife. So, of course, you're probably thinking like, well, if that's your workhorse knife, then what other knives do you need? You could just do everything with that. It's like, well, there's a few things that it's not good for. The second knife is the serrated knife. The serrated knife is a long slicer blade, usually between 10 and 11 inches long, and, well, look at all those indeterminate fruits. And it has these teeth on it, so it doesn't have a sharp edge, but these teeth grab and rip food. So this is useful for things like bread, where if you tried to use just a sharp knife, it would squish the bread before it cut it. Also useful for things like tomatoes are really good with that. I mean, if you have a sharp chef's knife, you can slice a tomato fine with a chef's knife, but I find a serrated knife just to be easier to slice tomatoes. And there's some other things like serrated knives are better for. I'm gonna go take my fruits home. Then the next knife is the slicer, or boning knife. This is a much more flexible bindi blade, and very thin, and usually about 6 inches long, and it can flex, it can bend. This is useful for cutting difficult pieces of meat that need to get around bones and things like that, where you need to be able to move it around. It's also useful for doing nifty things like peeling stuff. Like you can lay it flat on the cutting board and then use the flex to like push into it. It's also good for making sure like when you need to have a really like a solid cut. Like you don't want to have jerky cuts with a slicer. You want to get the longest cut you can. Some foods, if you do sharp jerky cuts, get like shredded up. Fish is a huge one. Like if you ever tried to cut fish with a dull knife, you end up jerking it back and forth, and it ends up shredding the meat instead of cutting it, which is not good. And that leads us to our final knife, which is the paring knife. The paring knife is like a 3-inch long blade, usually mimics a chef's knife. This is used for fine detail work, like peeling things, doing small cuts on stuff, where you just need to be much more intimate to the blade, and like a larger blade would be unwieldy. Scoring things, I usually use a paring knife. I can peel things using a paring knife. Many things you could do using a good paring knife. And I believe that with those 4 knives, you have all the knives you need. Now, of course, there are other specialty knives that can be used for different things, like you can get a cheese knife that has bevels cut in the side so the cheese doesn't stick. You can get a Sentuco knife, which is much more useful for chopping, but not great for mincing or slicing. Those aren't needed to begin with. And a lot of people are tempted by these packaged knife sets where, oh, I can get 12 knives for $40, and that's better than getting this one chef's knife for $60. What they don't realize is that they're buying crap knives. A good quality knife is forged instead of stamped. Now what that means is that it was basically instead of a large sheet of metal being put underneath a cutter and it cutting the shape of the knife and then they sharpen that, that's called stamped knives. Forging a knife means that it was like heated up in a fire, hammered out with a hammer, and then edged, and it's from one piece. And this just leads to a much higher quality metal and a much higher quality blade, where you can keep an edge on it, and we'll get to edge in a little bit, but it allows you to get edge on it and keep it. It withstands the test of time, and usually you get also the bonus of having what they call a full tang. A tang is the amount of metal from the knife part that goes through the handle. Now, a really good quality knife has a full tang, which means that the metal from the knife blade runs through the handle all the way to the end. If you've ever seen a really good chef's knife, you see that like gray strip of metal in the middle of like 2 handle pieces that are then pushed together to sandwich it, making your handle. That's a full tang knife. This helps with what we call balance, which is that it's weighted to the back, which means that it doesn't feel front heavy in your hand. Also, it means that the handle is not going to break and lose your blade. You could beat the crap out of that handle day in, day out, and burn it and cut it, and the blade's still fine. It isn't going to come out from these stamp knives, which are just screwed in, and once that screw goes, that knife blade just falls off the handle and it's useless. It's done. So my suggestion is that if you're serious about learning to cook and you're going to be doing this for a long time, invest in at least a quality chef's knife. Serrated knives are not as important, the paring knife's not important, slicer's not important. A good quality chef's knife. I'm talking like, get a $100 chef's knife. Ask for it for Christmas. Ask for it for your birthday. Like, once you have the $100 chef's knife, you're gonna see this immediate difference in your skills. And that's because of the basic rule of cutting, which is that a dull knife takes more effort to cut, and more effort means less control, which leads to more accidents and less precision. So once you have a good sharp chef's knife, you're going to be able to cook and cut like a true chef. So what we can then go into is the care of our knives. I know that it seems like we're not getting to like, well, I want to learn how to cut things, but you need to learn to take care of your tools if they're going to treat you well. You treat them well, you treat you well. Ow. Bushes. When you get a knife, usually they will come with a honer, which is that long stick metal thing that you see like chefs like do the whole quick swipe the blade across thing, and it looks really cool and threatening. What that's doing is that piece of metal is taking the edge of the blade, and the blade isn't dull. It's not squished down, meaning that it needs to be reshaped. It's bent to one side on the molecular level, where it's bent in a curve, which means that if you're not hitting the curve, your food doesn't cut. So all that honing does is like realigns it and pushes it back into the middle. Alton Brown has a great video on his show Good Eats. The episode is American Slicer, where he demonstrates what the difference between a dull blade and a sharp blade is. Go ahead and check that video. It shows a great visual example of what this means. But if you hone your knife before, anytime you do a massive amount of cutting, or any cutting, and you hone your knife real quick, which is about 5 swipes on each side, what you're looking for is that you're going to place, don't be like a chef at first and have it in the air whipping around. You're going to cut yourself, and I don't want hospital bills. Don't send me hospital bills. What you're going to do is you're going to set the honer with the metal side pointing down into the cutting board, and you're going to hold it upright, and you're going to then take the knife in your dominant hand, and you're going to put it at a 45 degree angle, and you're going to slice like you're slicing a thin slice of beef, and you're going to slice that down on one side. Then you're going to put it on the other side of the honer, so you're getting the opposite edge, and you're going to swipe down like you're slicing beef. And you're going to do that 3 times on each side, and then, so let me explain that better. So you're going to do 3 slices on one side of the honer, on the right side. Then you're going to go to the left side, do 3 slices. You're going to go to the right side, do 2 slices. On the left side, and then you're going to do 2 slices. Back to the right, do 1. Left, 1. And then your knife will be honed. And once you have that honed, you will be able to start cutting. I will go ahead and save sharpening knives for a different episode. Found a life shard. Because it's a bit more advanced, and starting out, it's not going to be a huge issue, especially if you're starting with a new knife. Yay, energy cell. Let's save the game. Yay, saved. So yeah, to cutting. So we have our knives, and we have a cutting board. Preferably... Oh, okay. I died. Preferably, you want your cutting board to be made of wood or plastic, and you're going to want it to be... I just get squished again. You want it to be about, I'd say, 2 feet by 1.5 feet. Well, that went bad for him. Yay, spirit light. Yeah, so we got our cutting board, and what we're going to do to practice is we're going to start with potatoes. Potatoes are the easiest thing to learn to cut on, and it is the easiest one to practice, like, getting your shapes. We tend to use a lot of terminology in cooking and recipes that determine what we're looking for in the shape and size of our cut. So to chop something is usually to get it into like a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch chunk, and technically a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch, so 1/4 inch cubed. And we want that to be the same for all of them. That'd be chopping. There are some fancy French terms that they made me learn in culinary school, which I will not bore you with. Things like parmentier and stuff, and like julienne. Y'all wanted to know who julienne's fries are? Julienne is a cut size. So how do we... Ooh. Being attacked. We can shoot laser beams. Yeah. We beat them! Yay! In the glade, past the caverns, we'll find him. The path is up ahead. As I told you, this game is beautiful. So, go ahead and peel your russet potato and set it on the cutting board. So what we're going to work with is we need to get this into a rectangle, because this is a weirdly shaped object, right? Now, you would not be doing this for standard, like, rustic dishes, because that would be a waste of freaking potato. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the potato lengthwise. And I know I've been saying that I should be getting a visual aid, and I'm working on it, and maybe I can re-upload this video in the future with the oh, get out of the water. With the visual aid in the future. Oh, I squished. But what we're going to do is we're going to have the potato be facing upwards. So we want the potato at 12 o'clock. And what we're going to do is holding the potato with our left hand. And what we want to make sure is that our fingers are never in the pathway. I miss this jump every time. Never in the pathway of our blade. And the best way to do that is to curl your fingers. So what you're holding the potato with is your thumb is in the back of the potato, and then your fingers kind of curl over the top. The reason why we do this curling motion is that we are able to have the top of the chef's knife rest against our knuckles, which means as long as that is touching our knuckles and we never go above our knuckles, we can never cut our fingers. The blade cannot reach our fingertips. So with this grip and the other hand, we're going to, in the other hand, which how we will grab our knife, we'll grab our knife and we will grab it and not hold it the whole thing with just the handle. Chefs realize that this has no control. It's wobbly. Your wrist is all wobbly at that point. So what you're going to do is you're going to scoot your hand to where your pointer finger and your thumb pinch the top of the knife right next to the handle. What this does is gives us great control of where the knife is going angle-wise. It will go up and down and will not slip on us. So with this grip, we now have our potato facing 12 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and we're going to slice a whatever distance you need to do to get a flat rectangular side on the right side of the potato. And to do that, we're going to put our blade down on the potato and we're going to push forward and down. We don't want to just go down. That would be a straight down chop and would lead to us probably not getting the right angle and cut, but we're slicing. So we're going to go to push forward. Well, okay, back that up. Straight down is a weird type of chopping. You can do that, but it is not effective. The blade does not work well like that. Blades cut when they slide. So what you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to slide the blade forward while you push down. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't need a ton of muscles to... It doesn't take a lot of effort to get through the potato. You don't need to put your entire body weight behind it. You can... All you have to do is put slight pressure down, and then... Oh, get out of there. Put slight pressure down, and slide forward. And that will slice you right through that potato. And now what we're going to do is we're going to basically lay that new flat side we just made down. And we're going to, on the bottom, ugh, almost fell. So it's on the bottom, so we have a nice flat, stable potato. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this with all the edges. We want to have basically a rectangle, right? So we're going to cut a flat side, cut a flat side, cut a flat side. And now we have a rectangular thing with some ugly ends. So we're going to go ahead and turn our potato 90 degrees to the right. And we're going to slice through the ends to create our final squares. So now we have straight-sided potato. The potato that... I need another key. The potato we've always dreamed of. So what we can do from there is we can go ahead and learn a couple of different cuts, because the steps kind of lead you to the next cut. So starting, we're going to go ahead and cut some planks. We're going to go ahead and measure off a 1/4 inch. Let's just go with half. So go in the middle of potato and go ahead and cut that potato directly in half, vertically, so that we have potato back at 12 o'clock and we slice it in half. This gives us 2 rectangular planks. This would basically be your basic slicing motion. To get to a size that people know and need, we're going to now go ahead and take that plank and lay it flat, and we're going to cut this one into planks going across. So we're going to cut this into smaller planks. And what we're looking for is probably about a 1/4 inch. Now, the best way to judge a 1/4 inch without getting a ruler out is that one distance of your knuckle on your pinky is generally an inch. So like from the tip of your pinky to the first knuckle is generally an inch. So if you take half of that distance, you have 1/2 inch. And if you take half of that distance, you have 1/4. This is how we kind of generally gauge size without having to bust out a ruler all the time. And this will get you generally close. And we're not looking for measurement perfection. We're looking for generally close. So once we've cut our now 1/4 inch thick planks, we're going to go ahead and lay those. So we've done that. And then, sorry, I'm trying to do this mentally, which I should really get the aid. I cannot break you. So we have our 1/4 inch thick planks. Yeah, that's bright. We're going to lay that plank flat on the surface. And what that allows us to do is now we can make julienne cuts. So a julienne cut is to have a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch by generally 2 inches is the rule. Sorry, not 2, like 4 inches. Like, no. Yeah, 2 is the classical measurement. Sticks. Like, the julienne's like matchsticks. So what you do is you just measure off another 1/4 inch on this plank and you slice it, and now you have a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch rectangle. And now to get to our final cut, you take those sticks, and we don't cut our sticks one at a time. If you want to be more efficient, we cut all of these things into the stick, into julienne, and then we turn those sideways 90 degrees, and we line them all up, and then we cut those into 1/4 inch cubes. And that gets us to our dice. So anytime something says, like, I need diced tomato, or I need diced carrot, what they're looking for is 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch cubes. 1/4 inch cubes. And this is how you get to it. Now, I know what you're all saying is like, this is not working very well because you need a visual medium. Yeah, I now understand that as I play this game. So our mission is to get to the key to this door. I will probably do a supplemental video to this one after this. I need to post this so I don't get punishment video game. And that's what I have to do. There is a piece missing. If we can find the map stone fragment, we might be able to repair it. Yeah, so now that we've learned how to dice potatoes, you can use these same skills with this knife to cut up anything. Just make sure you're aware of where your grip with your your non-dominant hand is, making sure that you're safe, that you cannot cut yourself, and that your right hand is pinching the knife correctly for your right hand, for your dominant hand. Sorry, I don't want to be handist. It's not fair to anybody. Oh, those are brutal. Some of the other things that people usually want to know is like, oh, how do they do that nifty onion cutting thing that they do on TV? Well, that's actually a lot easier than you think. And many of you, if you watch Food Network shows, have been shown this 97 times. It's what every cooking show wants to show you because it makes you feel like a real cook. But I'm gonna repeat it here in Shawneese. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your onion. We're going to go ahead and run away from that guy. we're going to go ahead and cut that onion in half vertically from top to root. And once we've done that, we're going to cut the ends off the onion, and we're going to peel it, peel down the dry layers, and we're going to take a half at a time. We ain't doing more than half an onion at a time. So once you have your half onion, what you can do is you're going to get the standard hand grip with your non-dominant hand, and you're going to grip it, and you're going to go ahead and make vertical 1/4 inch cuts straight down from top to bottom of this onion in a line, going from bottom of board to top of board, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch. So once you've done that, you're going to now do the tricky thing. You're going to place your hand flat, palm up, fingers bent way towards the sky on top of this onion. Knuckles preferably grip down, but way out of the way. And we're going to go ahead and grip these not cut all the way through the root pieces. I want to emphasize that you will not slice all the way through to the root. You're going to slice almost to the root and stop kind of shy. So you have all of these pieces still connected to the main piece. Was I not supposed to be able to get up here yet? Sorry, folks. I'm, like, confused. Yeah, I don't think I can get up there yet. Can I jump down here? Nope. Excuse me while I figure out where I need to go. So what you have is, maybe it's down. Oh, yeah, that's right. So what you have is a whole bunch of these 1/4 inch slices still connected to the bottom of the root. You're going to grip this onion again, and we're going to turn our blade, and we're going to just slice 1/4 inch slices through the pre-cut pieces. And what this does is that the natural layering of this onion is going to give you perfect diced onion every time. So you just slice down and work your way back towards the root. Don't get too close to the root. That's actually what makes you cry. It's full of sulfur. And the sulfur vapors escape the onion, and they float up to your eyeball. And once they reach your eyeball, they turn into sulfuric acid and it burns. That's why you cry. Water brick. So, we now know the onion trick. Yeah, so at this point we know what knives we need. We know basic cutting tricks. I'm sure you're asking though, like, what about the paring knife and stuff like that, or cutting meat? I think those deserve a episode of their own, just because meat is a topic we haven't really touched on that much, and the paring knife stuff is mostly used as a way to get around using other tools that are probably better for the job, like peelers, things like that. But if we reach a point where we need a tip on a paring knife during a video, I'll go into it. So let's get back to... Ow. I want to get that door open before I end the episode. Shooting our laser beams at slimes. By the way, I would like to again thank Diamond Club for and Night Attack for promoting the channel. If any of you are here from Diamond Club, feel free to leave a little diamond message in the comments. Let me know you're here. This has not been the best episode, I have realized, though. Definitely need the visual update. So the plan will be, yes, I've avoided the punishment game. Probably some of you are on this channel just to see the punishment game. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work on getting the visual supplement up for this. And I will go ahead and re-upload the video. Oh, that... Can I... Oh, I need the... Is there a rock? Yep, there is a rock. And I'll get the visual supplement up later this week, for sure. Oh, dear lord. And I didn't save. Yay. Oh, joy. Joy of joys. Man, Ori's such a cutie that... Look at the fluidness of this. And look at me fail her so hard. Is it a him or a her? You never get really a qualification. I guess that's one of the benefits of this game, is that it's not gender specific. Yeah, so if you have any questions or comments about this video, feel free to post them in the comments. I love to see comments. I'd love interaction with you guys. Or you guys can email me at steamcuisinelive@gmail.com, or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/steamcuisine. Reach out. Do you have questions? Do you want things you want me to talk about in the in future episodes? Do you have games you want me to see or talk about? Do you have an idea for a game for our game do you have idea for our game series The Look and Cook? Like, do you have things you want to see a review of and a recipe? Do you have recipes you want to share with me? Like, if you do, just... Oh, no. No. If you have recipes you want to share, I'll share them on the show. Send them to the email address. I even got a Twitter. Guys, check me out at Steam Cuisine, at Steam_Cuisine on Twitter. Also, I think you can just look up Steam Cuisine and it should pull up my Twitter. I should be checking that pretty frequently now. And, oh, we're almost there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to keep making these videos every week. Definitely feel better about the show and working on it. Yes, this has not been the best episode, but it definitely was an episode. Yeah, so let's... Where was that map thing? I want to stop at the map thing. Run! Is it down here? Yes. And we got our map. So, until next time, guys, hope you cook some great food. Please don't injure yourselves with cutting for the first time. And I hope to see you all next time here on Steam Cuisine.